Hello, everybody. This is Bern,
And this is Rye.
and you are listening to the Bodacious Rant with Bern Ry. How are you, my buddy, old pal, old friend?
It's been okay. The heat came back a little bit, but and like I said, movie studios are really butchering the movie business, even though they make the movie business. But I'm living life. What about you?
Well, I mean, unless I saw what theaters are opening back up, right?
I mean, still not for LA anytime soon, at least. But yeah, I mean, theaters are open back up. But like I said last time, that the studios keep pulling back movies, they keep getting postponed. So it's like, what's the point in going? The only movie I want to see is Tenet right now, but yeah,
That's the only movie I think we can see.
I don't know if it's worth driving to another county for it. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see. But besides that, let's just dive right into it today. The Boys season 2 ended last Friday. I gotta say, wow.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. What a season.
Immediately, like as soon as I finished, I thought, wow, 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 what an improvement over season 2. Not like there was anything to improve, but just how it upped the ante on everything, and its ending was even more of a cliffhanger than the last one. I feel like you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, where last season like ended on a pretty crazy cliffhanger. This one does as well, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why cannot? Why can't I have season three now?
Exactly. I'm. Oh, it's one of those things that yes, they let us see it week after week, so we were able to build the anticipation every week, and each week didn't fail to deliver another episode that built upon the story and just dug us deep into the super rabbit hole. But as soon as it was done, I thought, shit, we have another year to wait for to see season three.
The wait begins again.
Again, but it is definitely worth the wait after this season. And, I know last time we talked about it was basically we talked about episode 4, but also the first half. So today I think it's safe to say we're just going to talk about the rest of the season 2 and honestly just our overall review of it. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, man, sounds good to me. Episodes five, six, seven, and eight. So before I know we want to, just because we review them all in a clump, and it's a week after the last episode aired, we're gonna go into like pretty deep spoilers for the most part. But overall, I would like to know what your thoughts were for specifically the last half of the season, and then the season as a whole.
Well, I wasn't prepared for a follow-up question like that. Thank you. How I was talking about how excited I was after the first 4 episodes of this season, that thinking, you know what, this is already off to such a great start, and I was so excited to see more, which I should have been because it was a great start. But the last half of this season, again, doubled down on the craziness and the extremes that this show is really taking. Like, given not everyone's died, given the gravity of everything that's happened in this season, but
Nah,
again, the way the story has delved deeper into Vought and to the individual boys themselves, it really just again, I love this last half. I think this last half really nailed down the greatness of this season, and it kind of makes me think, season what? Season one? Season who? Kind of thing, like. So, I mean, what did you think though? How did you feel about this last half? Because sometimes, I've- for some people, a show starts off great in the first, half of or first few episodes, and then it just kind of just becomes a dud. What did you feel about this?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about, where like the first half of certain seasons build up in a certain way and give you certain expectations, and they really like lead the story into one way, and then they don't execute on that. This was not the case at all. I thought that this season did a really good job with the first 4 episodes of setting a really good foundation of the storylines for all these different characters and the trajectory that they were going to go to. And what I thought they did well with, the last half of the season was they really paid off those storylines in very unexpected ways, which is, I mean, I know I repeat myself a lot when I say this, but I can't predict what the show is going to do ever. And that's just a credit to the writing and how well it's executed by everybody involved. So, I mean, like I said, certain seasons of other shows, they set something up and they don't execute well. And then this was the opposite of that. I think they absolutely nailed it on the head. And wow, what an end to the season of a great television.
I can't agree with you more. But you pretty much said it all, really. Is that no, I couldn't predict anything that was going to happen in this last half of the season. Like, and that's the great part about this show is that Eric Kripke, I'm sorry, and the rest of the writing team really just excelled at the writing behind this show. Not only because I know before all this happened that the season premiere they said we're not going to stray away from politics. That's kind of what makes this show like commentary on the social norms going on right now with politically, socially, everything like that. And again, it really helped. The characters really help kind of bring out that commentary and just take you on a bunch of twists and turns. You have no idea what could happen because we talked about our thoughts on where it could go. Like I thought where it could go, and I did kind of predict something. I'll say it when we get down into it. But I did have a good prediction that it actually worked out, and I'm proud of myself for that. But everything else, I couldn't. The ending specifically for this season, I would never have guessed at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the very end of the season was where I was like, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I just thought, wow, they could have done it in such another different way, but they decided not to. And I'm really thankful for season three. It just made me think, no wonder season three got greenlit so fast because even the people who saw this were like, we need to see more. Please tell us the story. Like, and I'm right there with them.
Oh yeah, I'm right there, front of the line, waiting, camping out a day ahead of time, for the tickets for the next season. I'm there.
Again, if this show was in a drive-in theater area, I would totally do it every week. I would spend the money to go see this show. It's definitely one of the best shows of the season, or of the year. And I could actually say that because there's been more shows this year than there has been movies, so it kind of works out.
Yeah, it definitely does work out in its favor where this is like the must-see event of the year, I would say.
Yeah, before we start, also the violence never let up in this show, and it was just so gruesome at times, but also just and not only gruesome but heartbreaking when you hear about like what the violence has done to the characters and their stories and really it really just puts into perspective like wow, I completely understand you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we touched on it when the last time we discussed this that, and I think the use of violence in the show was really well done. And that, I mean, that just continues to be the norm for the show with the last half of the season.
Yeah, but I say let's get down to it. So, for those of you who are listening in, if you don't want to be spoiled, because we will do a bit of a deep dive into some of the last four episodes, or at least our highlights, and for me at least, they will be spoilers. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, just wait till the very end. We'll give a non-spoiler rating of the show out of five rantings, as you will, and yeah. So if now's the time to turn back. If after this it's too late.
Yeah, you can turn back, or when we have the timestamps, just jump forward. Jump past the conversation, see what our final thoughts are.
Absolutely, but let's get down to it. Let's start with episode five because like I said, we talked about episode four, and it was funny how I was talking about how I really want to see Black Noir come out, like really him show off more of his skills. And this one really kind of showed that, like especially after episode four, where he tracked down Butcher using the computer monitors at Vought,
Oh
and
yeah.
and we really got to see him in action when he finds Butcher at his aunt's house, which that was another thing I really did love about that episode was that we got to see more of Butcher's backstory. Like the first season talked about the first step of his history, which was with his wife, the most immediate connection he has, and then
Yeah.
this one I love how it took the more diving into what his family life was like essentially.
Yeah, I did really like seeing that because usually with these types of characters, either in movies or TV, they're really strong, the central characters, this dude with a dark past. We don't really get to see the people that are in their lives or like their extended family. Like that are alive. Usually it's like, oh, my wife had died or whatever. I used to have a family and now they're all dead or something like that. But with this one, we actually get to see, living relatives of his, which is something refreshing for, like I said, a character like Butcher's.
Yeah, it was great to see like his aunt and that he has a dog, Terror, who's his basically his child because he raised the British bulldog
Uh-huh.
and it was interesting too just because how it started off where Huey's calling him and he was being cordial like oh yeah it was great seeing her and I'm just gonna take some time away so I'll see you guys later kind of thing and as soon as Huey told Mother's Milk he was actually nice, he just immediately tell me everything he said. I kind
Uh-huh.
of started laughing because I thought, yeah, that's not a good sign, right? Because he's not supposed to be that nice of a person.
Yeah, it's like what Butcher was cordial, like he was polite and he said all these nice things. Something's really wrong.
Exactly, but it was just like I said, it was good to see that home life where his aunt's saying, your mother and father want to see you, and he's like, I'll see her somewhere else, but I don't want to see him. So it's like, okay, now we're starting to get a little bit more of why you're so angry. Like your father messed you up a little bit, and you love your mom. So like he is a good person at heart, but he's just a almost like socially just evil, I guess, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about like evil, but he is a character that keeps people at arm's length, and for reasons that we come to find out, I think a couple episodes later on, we'll talk more about that when that happens. But that kind of gives a little more background as to why Butcher is the way he is, how why he, like I said, he keeps people at an arm's length. He doesn't let people in with him. He gives off this character that he plays, that just someone who's like really hard edged and doesn't let people in and never really expresses like his real emotions and not everyone outside of Becca, who he's only had one or two interactions with since he thought she was dead.
Yeah. No, I mean, let me just put it more frankly. He's a good person, but he's an asshole to
Yeah.
other people, and even to those he like cares about. Because we in the next episode we really see him show more of his caring side. But this episode, let me just fast forward to just him rigging up his aunt's house as basically like Home Alone super version, essentially, where he just lays him, Mother's Milk, and Huey just lay out bombs, and the aunt's totally cool with it, which is it's really interesting because most normal people would be freaking out, but I guess if you're related to Butcher, it doesn't matter. Like it's like okay, just go along with it, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Where, yeah, exactly. Where any normal person would have been freaking out in the situation where the superhero is hunting down, some a member of your family. But again, then just kind of like was like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna figure this out. Blah blah blah. I'm like, what? I'm like, I was thinking, well, what has she been into? Like, what's her backstory if she's so like cool, calm, and collected in this situation?
And actually, now that I think about it, it kind of does make sense because she basically is running her own drug farm down in the basement. Her little safe room had all those prescription pills, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm dealing so people can actually get prescription drugs to help." Supposedly, I'm putting air quotes because it's like, okay, no, the whole family is a bunch of rebels, essentially, a bunch of maniacs.
Uh-huh.
And
They all have their own agendas.
the other thing I loved about that episode was that before we go on to the next one was that Maeve and Elena, they got outed by Homelander, and as soon as people are okay with it, that's cool because there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. As soon as Vought got into it or like really knew about it, I kind of like the commentary on the whole corporate control of people's lives, where they try to make Elena look a little more masculine because Maeve has like the dress or something like that, and it's like Elena's feminine too. They could both be feminine, but Vought said, "Oh well, statistics show that." People respond better to when a lesbian couple are man and more masculine and feminine instead of both feminine or both masculine. And it's kind of like, who cares? They love each other. Shouldn't that be enough? And that shouldn't it be enough that Maeve has someone to be with? Like I don't know. I just thought it was pretty awful, but also hilarious at the same time that that's happening to him.
Yeah, it did what a lot of when the boys does a commentary on something social. It did a really good job, like it's done before. Where, yeah, it is kind of like a condemnation of what goes on in society today, where there's this corporatization of this person's personal life, and they, like I said, they use it to their advantage, where they say, "Hey, your relationship, this is how it's going to work for us if you guys act this certain type of way, or if you guys look this certain type of way." And it's something real that does go on in today's society. So I thought it was a really good commentary on that.
Yeah, and I know Maeve and Elena are dealing with their own trying to control that. They're Vought controlling them while also just worried about Homelander. Like I know that's Maeve's top priority in that episode, and it was just kind of it's kind of nice peeling back the layers for her too, because in season one, she committed a couple atrocities with Homelander, or a couple, not atrocities but bad things. One of them definitely was an atrocity, and she does care, but she kind of just waves it off as like it's part of the job. But in this season, it's really just coming down on her, and she's kind of wrestling with the whole being a celebrity superhero while also just being a human being. And like I said, I really was digging the whole just showing that as super as these people are, it's humanizing them a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought they did a really good job of humanizing Maeve's character more this season. And yeah, like exactly what you said, how in the last season that she did do these things with Homelander, and this whole time she's just been trying to justify it, like you said, like her thinking, this is just part of the job, this is what happens. But now that she's in a relationship and it's public now, and she's losing that sort of, what's the word? Like she's losing this, the privacy of her life. Now it's really her trying to fight back against that and trying to reclaim the things that mattered most to her, and her really like coming to terms with who she is as a person and how she can be outside of what society and what this corporation wants her to be.
Exactly. But the one who has still not really been humanized in that episode, Black Noir, just at the end where he goes through all those bombs, no problem, even though the house is rumbling and basically wrecked, he still manages to dominate them. And I got pretty scared because I thought, oh my God, Huey or Mother's Milk, neither of you better die right now, because I will lose it if like the best people of the show die. And again, total curveball where Butcher just totally throws out saying, you kill them, I will let everyone know that Homelander has a bastard child, essentially. And that's when Black Noir gets that phone call from Edgar and is just saying, fine, we'll let you live. Just don't say anything about it. Like, it's that simple. Like, okay, so you guys really do care about public image to a certain extent. So it was kind of funny, a little disappointing in that it was that simple, but at the same time, I was happy that the boys made it out safely to live another day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I mean, I wouldn't describe it as simple. I mean, I know I understand how that can come off that way, but what I really enjoy about this show is it is showing how normal people are able to fight against, someone with superpowers, and how is that? And you have to really think outside the box, and that's what one of the cool things about Butcher's character is that he's always thinking a few steps ahead of like how to get out of situations, because there's no way, hand to hand or like mano a mano that he's going to be able to like fight against Black Noir in any
No,
universe, because no, that man, we already saw what he can do in the very first episode, and no, Butcher doesn't stand a chance, and he knows that. So he knows that he has to come up with a different solution. And I like how he was always thinking on his feet, and how the boys, and as a collective, they're always getting out of these situations just by, maybe, and just not by outthinking it, by using their brains. And that's one of the really things I liked about this interaction was, he's not gonna win the fight. Just a little slap to the head, almost like completely knocked him out. So, he had to play his card, and I don't know. I really enjoyed that. Like, oh, okay, that's how he's gonna get out of this situation.
yeah, no, I agree with you. It definitely simplified it, but at the same time, story wise, they played it a little safe by letting everyone live. But then again, I don't want to see any of the boys die. They're the heroes, especially Huey or Mother's Milk, where they're genuinely good people, and Butcher is again just the asshole leading them. But
Hmm.
and that's also kind of showing that yeah, he's very resourceful, and in an almost conniving way, just because of how he knew that would get Mr. Edgar just to call them like, okay, fine, you called our bluff, we'll back off a little bit. And it was just, and then Black Noir again still doesn't talk, still doesn't do anything, but now we're definitely getting a vibe that he's more of a like Vought's just hitman, not even a real hero.
Essentially, yeah.
Like, I mean, episode one hinted at that with this season, but this one definitely kind of showed he is just he'll do his allegiance is to Vought. That's essentially what it is. That he's literally just a robot essentially. But
Yeah, like the other members of the Seven are these public figures, and they go out to these events and they show their faces, and they're more celebrities than superheroes. Whereas Black Noir is this black operative, where he's doing all the dirty work for Vi. It looks like.
exactly. But let's move on to episode 6, which I thought episode 3 was my favorite. This one and knocked it out of the park for me. Where I love how they figured out that Stormfront has a secret thing going on at this place called Sage Grove, and when Kimiko, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, and basically the whole team go there, I was just like, oh, this is a little scary right now. You guys go behind enemy lines essentially, and it was just like again a messed up like Professor X school essentially, where instead of kids dealing with powers, it's adults imprisoned with powers, and it was really cool seeing Sean Ashmore come back because I know he was Iceman in the X-Men movies, but this one he was Lamplighter, almost like another pyro character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was a supervillain or superhero with fire powers. Where like it's one of those meta things where they're casting the guy who played Iceman to play a fire hero. I thought that was pretty funny of them.
I thought it was hilarious, especially because when he torches that one soup that just wanted to call his parents, he did the lighter kind of like what Pyro did next to, and just burned him like the same motion. I thought, he's making fun of Pyro a little bit. I felt like, I mean, probably wasn't, but like how you said, it's pretty meta that they did that, and
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
it was really cool seeing like what Compound V does to adults because we learned in this episode that Vought is trying to stabilize Compound V for adults because I love how they pointed out, like where we learned in season one, that babies are given Compound V and they grow with it, whereas they want to just stabilize it so any adult can get powers, regardless of what age or what temperament, whatever. And
Yeah, they want to be able to, I guess, use it like militarize it or weaponize it, like they said, like they can have an army of heroes or
yeah,
supers.
but Mother's Milk posed a good question where it's like, what is that going to do? They're merchandising everything, so it's pointing out the fact that this company is supposed to be doing public good and standing for something when really it's really trying to branch out, kind of like Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, like those movies where yeah, dinosaurs were originally supposed to be created for enjoyment and kind of history, and instead it's like no, you're just gonna want to militarize it and send them out for whatever just to make more money. And this episode's kind of diving deep into Vought's more sinister intentions.
Yeah.
Oh, just and then Stormfront's basically running the whole operation. So and I love how after episode 4 and 5, we're really starting to learn what she's like. That she was it this episode or the next episode we find out what her history is. I want to say it was
Um,
episode 6.
the episode. Oh, okay, the one where we find out like what her like her full on backstory is.
Yeah, was it that one or was it episode 5?
It was episode 6. Yeah,
It
so it
was
is this
episode 6.
episode.
Yeah, just because again we learned in episode 4 that she's supposedly Liberty, who was like again you already kind of get the vibe she's racist because she just beat up a black guy for no reason,
Hmm.
but it takes it even a step further, which is why I love this show and that they really did bring out the Nazi backstory that she was Vought's original wife. She danced with Himmler and loved Goebbels. Like,
Yep,
just
she was with the Third Reich and all of those guys.
scumbag woman. And and the reason why, it's funny how she wanted to take over the Seven because she didn't think Homelander had the balls or really the temperament to deal with what she was doing. But she revealed to him, yeah, I'm old as hell. I'm a Nazi. And I want white supremacism with superpowers. And I thought he would kind of be a little turned off by it, but no, he loved it. He full on made out with her at the end, which I thought, ugh, monsters, both of you, just irredeemable people.
Yeah, that is one of the things that like I was like, oh man, Homelander, like I know you're like a total monster, but I hope there's like you at least have this like line where you can't really be on the side of Nazis, but I don't know, man. I guess he just liked her so much that he was willing to look past it at the very least.
I mean, he is blonde, blue eyed. That's what the Aryan race is supposed to be for Nazis. So,
Hmm. And
you
he is the
know,
strongest superhero too, so exactly like he's like she told him he's their perfect image.
which he was. And I mean, they both are, again, like I said, she dons U.S. garb just like he does, but really they have sinister intentions. Like it's almost commenting on like a lot of people's impressions of what patriotism is when really it's nationalism. And I think both their characters serve as a good metaphor for that. You get me?
Yeah, where he's a nationalist essentially. He is all about America and all that stuff, and she's a straight up a supremacist. Like a fascist basically.
Yeah, and again, what I really loved about this episode too, back to the sage growth thing, was just that they're looking at the security monitor, so they're seeing all kinds of people with powers. And again, this scene with Mother's Milk where the tentacle gets him
Oh my
in that
God.
breakout, and then Kimiko kills the soup behind it, and it turns out to be that guy loves sausage. And they just, I love how Frenchie and him are just reacting like, "Oh my God, that was his dick." Hey, it's okay. Like Frenchie's reaction was hilarious. Just, oh, don't be so close-minded. It's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
don't be so close-minded.
But you could tell Mother's Milk is just purely disgusted. Like, I just had that man's junk all around my neck and I was grabbing it, trying to get it off me. Like, ugh. I mean, the same way, just like, oh my God. Especially
I would
because the
have
guy was like a big dude, like a beard and stuff. So he kind of looks a little like dirty, I guess. Not in a mean way, but at the same time, he just looked like just greasy and gross.
I mean, I know those prisoners don't have the best hygiene. Like I think we can say that for a fact with the way they
Yeah.
were being treated in that facility. But
Yeah, not
yeah, if
all of
if
them.
that were me in this situation, I would have pulled an Ace Ventura. Just no, no.
I think I would need a second to catch myself and be like, I need all kinds of sanitizer or shower immediately. I need to clean. Just clean myself. Ah!
Or pull a Frank from It's Always Sunny. I want to be pure. Just lather myself in hand sanitizer.
Just become a slug of sanitizer. I just want to be pure. Like, oh, you can't be like that. But and another good thing too is that what I also like seeing about was Starlight and Butcher kind of bonding, even though he has a vendetta against the Seven and all soups essentially, and she's just like she's trying to break through it, which I respect because it's like he doesn't really know her, he doesn't know her intentions when really she is trying to help them. And
Hmm.
when Huey got hurt and they're taking him to the hospital, I love their interaction with each other in the hospital. Like he really is just he's kind of basically just kind of saying he's a bitch. And he's like, oh yeah, he uses women's shampoo. What? Oh yeah, I don't know why, but he loves using it. Like he just, and they kind of have a laugh about making fun of Huey, but it was
Hmm.
nice to
While he's
see like
unconscious.
it's kind of nice seeing like the two of the most important people besides Huey's father like reacting and bonding together over their mutual, you know, not hatred, but they're just the mutual making fun of him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even go as far as to say that is they're bonding over their mutual love of Huey. Like Butcher told him in the episode previously, he is his canary. Like he is the person that brings out the best in him. So, and definitely from Annie, that she really likes him because he does like her for her and not for this image that everyone else sees. So he really is the heart and soul of the boys and of the show, I would say.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny how he evolved from that, like where him and Butcher had vendettas in this one, but Butcher still does, but in this season he's just kind of backed off from that, and he kind of wants to go the more peaceful route or the more route like the path of least resistance, essentially. Like, I don't want to kill anyone. I just want to take them down the right way, kind of thing. And Butcher's just not having it. And again, they do clash heads, but like you said, he admits that, yeah, you're my canary. You're the voice in my head that tells me to back off, like relax, kind of thing. So it was just, again, as much gruesome stuff that we see in this show, it is great to see the heartfelt moments, like within the team and within them, like how it's like, yeah, we're doing these terrible things, but we're still trying to be good people at the same time. Like we're trying to do this with the best intentions.
Yeah, they're not just characters that are defined by the mission that they're on. They are their own fully fleshed out people with, their own intentions and their own worries. And again, they're fully realized characters, which is another credit to the writing of the show. So yeah, I mean, they're exactly like the show is really good for having, those crazy moments where where the things happening where, one of them is being choked out by a penis, and then you have you have you have the moments of them just bonding over their mutual love and respect of, the character.
The pain again. The sausage was so gross. And I remember after thinking like it kind of was slithering out, I thought, wait, that looks very phallical. Am I correct? And then when I see that big guy, I'm like, no, no, it was again. It was one of those episodes that had the biggest surprise, strictly because of that character himself. Like I was like, that's what kind of superpower is that? But
What
oh,
would
man.
you even use that for?
I mean,
What are the practical applications?
we did see on the monitor he was like reeling in like those wards in like luring them to him with that. So, he probably just kills them or something some other way. But just still, that's a terrible. That is the worst way to go. I'm gonna say that right now. Dying by that thing, that penis, worst way to go.
So my last words would be just don't let them know I died this way.
He literally, it was almost like those hentai movies come to life. Those tentacle things. Just
Oh God.
that's what it reminded me of a little bit. So. But let's move on to episode 7, which is like the semi finale of this season. And, again, it was crazy that not Starlight, Stormfront really revealed her intentions to Homelander and that she wants to basically create the Fourth Reich with superheroes using Homelander in their image. And, Starlight and her mom getting captured by Vought because, as admirable as Annie's mom was trying to reconnect with her daughter and kind of, build back the relationship. It's like, you were an idiot. Why would you think anything what you're doing is fine? Like you lured yourself and your daughter to Vought essentially. So that was a little frustrating. And I love how Lamplighter was basically becoming a snitch again, but he's ashamed of it, but at the same time not real. I don't know. He's got like he's just such a sleazy character in this episode. Like he's just watching porn all day, just wants to get everything over with, like doesn't care. I was just like, ugh, Lamplighter, you suck.
Yeah, he's like acting in a way where, someone who has nothing left to lose acts, basically. And that's, I guess, just his version of, you know what, I'm screwed either way, so I'm just going to do whatever I want. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you're going to do? Oh, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just love how he's telling all these porn movies, and it's like one where they have a parody of Starlight, and it's like, no, I don't want to watch that. Don't make me imagine that. He's like, all right, but he's doing it to fuck with Huey, just because
Yeah.
Huey's Huey. You can make fun of
Huey's
it.
an
You can do
easy
it.
target. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, I love the actress that plays Farah in Call of Duty, who is that politician, Victoria Newman, who we've seen her in this season that she is trying to take down Vought politically, like saying, these people they're basically becoming like a fascist corporation where they're trying to just monopolize the military and essentially like who will stand against them at that point. And let me look up the actress's name because I do not have that information with me now. Let me see. Her name, Amelia. No, that's not it. That's a different person. Claudia, Claudia Dumit? Dumit? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but again, I love seeing her more in this season. Like, I just thought, again, we were going to see her a little bit in the beginning, like then the middle. and it's like now she's become a more prominent character near the end. So it was good seeing her how she's like, yeah, Lamplighter, you're such a person to feel bad for. Just keep giving me the information. Like she's acknowledging, like, yeah, you're not a good person, so why should I care? Just tell me, just do what you're here to do, kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I really liked seeing more of her character. Just as seeing her in the first four episodes as this sort of outside ancillary character. The just I thought was just going to be just background noise, essentially, just kind of being like the person to show us, maybe what people around the world in this universe are feeling. But now that she's starting to become more and more of a character in this last half of the season, it was really cool to see.
Yeah, and I know like how her and Mallory are working together to, take down Vought with Lamplighter's testimony. It's kind of nice that even the ex-CIA lady and this politician are trying to do it legitimately. But then, like again, when Annie gets captured and her mom, it's like Huey. I love how Huey's still like he's like the most worthless person on the team. Not saying like he's completely useless, but it's like he doesn't really know how to fight. He can't do much, but he's still willing to risk his life for Annie. Like it's just a nice. It was a nice sentiment to see that, but oh
Yeah,
my
you
god,
can say that he's the true hero.
I can be your hero. I love that song, like from Hot Tub Time Machine.
Enrique Iglesias.
Again, that whole exchange too was hilarious. Just how it was so dark when they got there. I just thought it was completely messed up that Lamplighter just killed himself. Like he was dealing with his own torment, and then the fact that it's like they took down my statue. Like I was part of the seven, and just I wanted to just see my statue one more time. It's like what? And then as soon as he was standing, and he was like, no, 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 stop! He just burns himself. I thought, my God, what a psycho.
Yeah, that like just completely caught me off guard. I'm like, why would he want to do that? We just yeah, we like I guess his intentions were to burn himself in front of his statue as like some sort of message or like an FU to Vought or whatever. But I'm like, dude, what? I kind of got
I,
bummed out a little bit because I wanted to see more of his character, but what are you gonna do?
yeah, because I like Sean Ashmore. He's not okay. He's not the best actor, just because some of the other movies outside of X Men he's done aren't that great. But he did a great job in this as Lamplighter. Like it was cool seeing him as like a hero turned villain turned snitch. And I mean, I don't mean to be insensitive to the suicide thing because it's like it shouldn't be like mocked of, even though he was a piece of shit character. But I guess it was like him just dealing with all the guilt of like killing Mallory's family that we learned in the episode before, and just again betraying the seven again, while also kind of he's just scared. I guess he just found no other alternative to living, kind of thing. It was sad, but I'm also like I kind of have a little sympathy for you, Lamplighter, because again, you were obviously just a messed up person. So he took the easy way out. But it was cool seeing Black Noir going at it with Starlight, because it's like I just kind of thought, man, Annie could take a beating. She is relentless too. Even though Black Noir would not let up, she was still getting up, doing what she could. And then the end with Maeve coming in to save the day, and it's just the almond joy.
Everybody, that faceless killing machine that we've seen throughout this whole season, just a complete force of nature, taking everyone out left and right, almost killing, Butcher, one of the main characters. He's taken out by an almond joy.
And she's like, "What? An almond joy? Like it's Annie's favorite candy," which is ironic because Huey made fun of her for that in episode 4. Is like, "You love the worst candy of all time," and I thought, I like almond joys. It's not that bad. But and then Maeve's like, he has a nut allergy. It's like, oh my god, okay. Like
Oh, I guess.
that's one of the things I love about this show too. I was gonna say this till the end, but I just want to point out it's like how are they peel back the layers for characters. It's like no matter how strong these characters are or how messed up they are, it's obvious. It's often the most simplest and just easiest ways of stopping them or getting to them. You know what I mean? Like Homelander with wanting to be famous and just seeking attention like a child, and Black Noir, he has a nut allergy. That's all it
Yeah,
takes.
or yeah, sometimes it's an almond joy, other times it's a stick of dynamite up your ass.
Well, that's with translucent. So it was really funny. It was funny and just so ironic that that happened. And it was like, I know how in the episode before this one, Maeve's girlfriend Elena found the video of the GoPro camera when her and Homelander let that plane crash essentially. And this
Mhm.
episode was just Elena kind of saying, I do care about you and I know you're a good person, but then it's again, you've helped kill all these people essentially. You didn't save them. Like, how do you live with yourself? And Maeve just kind of, she's like, I don't know how, but this is me. You wanted to know me. And Elena's kind of almost like saying with regret, like, I did. And it was just sad to see that, but at the same time, I completely understand why Elena's doing what she's doing. And it sucks for Maeve, but at the same time, you reap what you sow.
Yeah, and again, that's just her character development in this season. She's having to pay for her actions that she did, in the past, and now she's got to grow from it, and she can't just expect things to go away because she's trying to ignore them. She has to face them head on, like her relationship with Homelander.
Exactly. And just when I thought this show couldn't get any more effed up, when Stormfront and Homelander, or Stormlander, I'm going to call them that their relationship. They
Yeah,
go.
I was actually thinking about that earlier, like what their couple name would be. Is it Stormlander or Homefront?
I mean, both actually work, and
Yeah, they
Homefront,
do actually.
Stormlander, maybe not so much, but it's just it still works. I'm just going to call him Stormlander just to be
Yeah,
different.
that's something we didn't touch on yet, but yeah, starting in episode 5, they hook up at the end of that episode, and now they're like a full blown couple.
Yeah, real quick, that hookup scene was just bonkers. I guess if
Yeah, they're
you, I guess if you thought what would it look like if superheroes had sex, I guess that's what it would look like, kind of thing.
just beating each other up and breaking everything.
Yeah, and then floating while just doing it, just lovely. Thank you for that imagery, Eric Cricket. Especially because again, she's a Nazi. She's the worst of the worst. Like, ugh,
Yeah, and their relationship too, where like she starts enabling like his worst tendencies, where she's just basically feeding him what he wants to hear, telling him, basically you can do whatever you want. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, because at the beginning of episode 6, where they stop a guy who just did a minor robbery. I mean, again, it's a robbery, but instead of just taking him to jail, he crushes his head because she's just jerking him while he has his hand against some guy's face. And I thought, what's the matter with you people? You could have just broken his arm or something. God, you had to do
Uh,
that. Ugh, this is creepy.
oh yeah, they're a horrible power couple.
Oh, they were just the worst. And like I said, that's a prediction I'm proud of myself because just how in this season I thought they hate each other now, but I think that's out of that hate is going to be a real deep connection. It's about passion, connection. So but by this episode it's just like not only are they're really trying to galvanize the people and letting Compound V become more of a used thing for everybody, like just be more popular, more accepted by the public, so Vought can essentially just distribute it to people. And again, it is just messed up how they go to Butcher's wife's house just to see the son. Oh, would you like to meet my son? Kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, that's already messed up because now your wife doesn't know who Stormfront is, and your son doesn't know who this person is. Yet you're just going to introduce this woman to your son. Like, great. And I didn't know how it was going to go. I thought it was just going to be another rejection from Ryan, but instead they told him, oh, yeah, this is all a lie because Vought wants to keep you safe and your mother's been lying to you. It's like, oh, you
Yeah, like
bastard.
there's a whole of the outside world that you've been basically hidden from.
And again, it was just, oh, how dare you turn Ryan against his own mom, the one who's actually caring about him and looking out for the best of him. She had to lie. There is no way around it. She can't just because he's fragile. He's a kid. Given his, he could toughen up a little bit, but at the same time, it's like she doesn't want him giving in to like his father's just worst tendencies by showing him everything, and that's completely understandable. She's just trying to keep Ryan safe. But when they fly off with him, I thought, oh, how dare you? I just felt heartbroken when that happened because I could feel her like just like oh, like her fear, just like oh my god, what have I done or what have they done? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like she's completely powerless in the situation, and to the other two, like exactly the Homelander and Stormfront, they just insert themselves into Ryan's life and basically say, "Yeah, we're gonna take over parenting now." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, Becca, like this, like how did you not see this coming with Homelander wanting to be around more, like, and not leaving with Butcher? Like you had to have thought, at some point." Homelander, being the monster that he is just going to try to raise Ryan in a way that you don't want to.
I didn't think he would stoop to that level. Like you said with the whole Nazi thing and how he had a level, I thought this would because when she says he needs a mother, you didn't have one, right? Like I think he needs me, like it was just one of those things I thought he understood that, but then as soon as I saw them outside, I thought, nope, he does not care. He used that to his advantage.
Yeah, like maybe he did have that before, where she would talk to him and say like you need to like kind of back off, where he was saying like he needs a mother, and he was like okay, like a little bit of understanding, but again, his relationship with Stormfront now, where she's just enabling his worst tendencies, it's just he's just feeding into that, and she's playing into him perfectly to where now he's having no lines.
Yeah, it was just atrocious to see that. And you think with Lamplighter dying, they had no case, but Butcher was that other thing I want to touch on before we move on to the finale was that we got to finally see Butcher's father, and it was the same guy who played Boromir's father in Return of the King. The actor, I gotta look at the actor real quick because I forgot his name, but just oh my god, like how he's the same terrible father essentially from one movie to a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's a completely terrible father. Like now that what I was hinting at earlier was that we get to see why Butcher is the way he is, why he's, this really he has this barrier between himself and people, and how he's like a total a-hole to like his even his closest friends, is that his father was abusive to both him, and what it's insinuated is that he also led his brother to kill himself. Like his
Yeah,
father was just this complete monster to the two of them growing up.
yeah, that was sad to hear that. And again, it just completely cleared, like how episode 5 kind of made more sense. Episode 7 really cleared up Butcher's life and that he grew up terribly. Like he loved his brother. He stood up for his brother, and his brother was also the one to say, "Hey, it's okay. Like let it go." But then I guess when the brother committed suicide, the father blames him for like, well, you weren't there to protect him, which is just obviously the most messed up thing. But I also loved how he went to the doctor, the guy who created Homelander, essentially. He went to his house, and again, you think,
Vogelbaum, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
Dr. Vogelbaum. You think Butcher would be much more of a human after that experience, just thinking, you know what? I don't want to be like my father. I want to be a better person. No, completely doubles down and accepts his history and just says, if you don't testify, I'm going to find your daughter and anyone who's related to you, and I will kill them. I'll make their life a living hell. And Vogelbaum
Uh-huh. So I think
simply
he tells
avoids.
him like what, like he's like, I'm gonna walk over there and kill everyone in that room while she's serving him tea, like, oh, thank you. Thank you for the tea.
Yeah, all
And he's just
snide.
uh-huh.
And he's just like, how could you be like this? And when he takes the tea from his daughter, just drinking, like, he's basically, that look just utterly spoke. Do not test me. You will do it, or you really want to take that risk kind of thing. I thought, man, Butcher, you're a monster for the good side, but it's like, God damn, dude, you're terrible.
Hmm. The perfect way to describe his character is necessary evil.
Yeah, no, that is actually the best way to describe him. He is a necessary evil, yeah, and it's so sad to see those moments, but at the same time they're balanced by his caring moments. And that last scene where it's like they're all in the courtroom and he's about to testify, about to not even say anything real. He just was introducing himself. Boom, heads explode all over the place, which I thought was just crazy cool, but also crazy gross.
Yeah, like we hadn't seen this since I believe the first episode, right, where the CIA lady gets her head blown up. So I mean, we knew that was the setup, but I didn't. I like by this point I had kind of forgotten about that. So needless to say, when heads start popping in this like court hearing, my mind was blown.
You son of a gun. No pun intended. No, again, I did not see that coming either.
Mm-mm.
I kind of did forget about the heads exploding, but at the same time, in episode 6, where we saw that one girl, uh, Kelly or Carrie, I forgot her name, but
Cindy?
Cindy, thank you.
Was it
She was
Cindy?
the
Yeah,
one
it
who could
was.
crush things, and she did pop somebody's head. So I thought, oh my god, was that her? But then I thought, she's an inmate. How could they use her when she basically hates everyone that works there? Like she's very antisocial. Didn't want anything to do with any of like Vought's employees. So
Yeah, it
that was
seemed like
one
she
thing.
was never let out of her cell because everyone was afraid of how dangerous she was.
Yeah, and conveniently, it was only Vogelbaum, that new speedster. I forgot that character's name, and then some of the other people in there that just died. Where Newman and Mallory were able to get out, and Stormfront and Homelander were untouched. Which, fun fact, the reason why Homelander appeared to never have blood after all that was because they said that the suit was so expensive and so hard to clean that they didn't want to risk laundry bills essentially, because it's like the suit's worth more than Anthony Starr,
Oh my God.
so we can't risk that. So that's why they had, like, if you watch it again, you'll see there's no blood on him whatsoever, at least in that time, because it's
Interesting.
like they
Wow.
don't want to spend money on that. So I thought that was kind of funny reading that. um but that finale, let's move on to the final episode. Just wow, what an ending.
Oh yeah. Just when you think your mind was blown with the last episode, this one again just builds off of that ending of the penultimate episode where you're like, okay, where are things gonna go now? You know, they were playing their biggest hand at this congressional hearing, and we thought, okay, this is the only way that they could take down Bot. And it just does not go the way you expect. Again, everybody's heads start blowing off, and especially their lead witness, so they have no case now. So it's like, what are the boys going to do now?
I was with them. Like, we're gonna kill them all. Like, we're gonna go all out or die trying. But it's like Huey and Annie were like, no, no, no. We have another card to play. And I love how they go to Maeve, and she's like, "This is the twink you're with." And it's like, and Huey's kind of like, "Hey, come on, don't call me a twink." She's like, she basically saying, "Yeah, he's even more bitchy than his pictures." Like, like, okay, I get it. Like, can you help us?
It's like, I'm not
And
a traditional tough guy, okay, but I can hold my own.
she's still dealing with her misery of just like playing double agent a little bit, but also just Elena leaving her. So I could feel that, but I was like, damn it, Maeve, you're useless. And then when A Train appeared in their Annie and Huey's car, I thought, holy crap, where'd you come from? Like, Jesus, you're fast.
Uh-huh.
I totally agree
He
with
just pops
that.
up, hey guys. Just, oh my goodness. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
But my favorite part was just when Stormfront, they're trying to teach Ryan how to be angry and channel his powers. And the whole, oh my God, it's white genocide. That's what's happening. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
when she
how?
starts telling him, believe it or not, there are people out there who want to hurt us just because of the color of our skin. It's called white genocide. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, you are the most backwards person. But again,
But
Nazis
I
are.
I did I did like Homelander's reaction to that where like she's telling him all these things and you can tell even he's like I don't know. Like he does have that little look, so I thought that kind of redeemed him a little bit. He's still a monster though.
No, it's still didn't redeem me, but it's like, okay, so you're still enabling this. You're letting this happen. Like, ugh,
Yeah.
you're also just a scumbag. But
Like you're not completely condoning it, but you're also not outwardly saying, "Oh, that's not right."
exactly. And just when my favorite part is when she just freaks out because A Train gave them the collective's file on Stormfront because she was one of the original members of the collective. And it's just like everybody's finally saying, "Yeah, Nazis are bad. Well, like, you're a piece of shit. No one should like you." And it was almost like flipped how the crowds loved her in the beginning of the season hated Homelander. They like Homelander again, but now they hate her because she's a Nazi. And it was just like I could tell, like Aya Cash really portrayed that, just like, oh my God, like how dare these people use my information against me and like my history.
Yeah,
And
and it was also kind of like showing how hypocritical she was, like before, where she was like, "Oh, you don't need people to like you," and all. Now that her basically her dirt is out there for everybody to critique, she's all sensitive to it. Like why like everyone hates me now just because I'm a Nazi.
exactly, just again POS. And again, Butcher, just his treachery knew no bounds in this one, where he goes to Edgar's like, I'm gonna give you back Ryan, but I want Becca. You keep the kid. It's like, come on, dude, don't do that to her. You know she loves the kid. Like it's her son. But
Yeah, and even Edgar was like, what am I gonna do when she comes looking for the kid? Like we both know that she's not gonna just let him go by himself.
yeah, and and then Edgar's just like, you really are a monster. Like you're really like one of us. And Butcher's just like, I don't care. It's my wife and nothing else. So I was pretty disappointed in that, but then at the same time, when they do get Ryan, and the fact that he regrets saying to his mom like, I hate you, like you lied to me. It's like he's just a kid. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know how to process emotions very well, because every kid will, if they get upset, they'll throw tantrums, they'll say stuff that they don't mean. So
Yeah, just things like, I wish you were never my parent, or some dumb stuff like that. We were like, okay, calm down, kid.
I
But
wish
what
you
I did,
were dead. Like in that old SNL skit with Will Ferrell and Sarah Michelle Gellar, where they're just yelling at each other, just like, hate me, you big fat turd.
what I did like though is that they showed how, again, he's been living in isolation basically with his mother, and in the scene where, Stormfront and Homelander take him to Vought World, we get to see how that really does play into his character, where he hasn't been exposed to the crowd of people that start to insert themselves around Homelander, because he is a celebrity, so everyone starts crowding around him, and little Ryan has a little freak out because again he's never been around that much people, and I thought it was a cool like parenting moment from Homelander, which I never thought we would get because he's just no total POS. But I like that little heart to heart that he does have with Ryan, telling him, I had issues too. I didn't have anybody to tell me or to show me how to use my powers or to explain anything to me. I mean, I was raised by doctors, and he's kind of saying how basically he wants to be that person for Ryan that he wishes he had. So I thought that was a kind of a nice humanizing moment between him and Ryan.
Yeah, that's the only redeeming factor, is that. But again, it's also just kind of commenting on the fact that you're just a giant child, so you can relate to a child more than you can to an actual adult. Like, and
Yeah,
I
exactly.
it's messed up. But and then when they all converge on that cabin in the woods, essentially, I forgot whose it was, but you
I don't
know,
know. Was it like Matt? Not Mallory. Was it the like his? I guess it was like his cabin, right? Like it had a
yeah,
bunch of his stuff there.
that's right. It was the cabin he would have his little meetups with Doppelganger.
With
Ugh,
Doppelganger, yeah.
creepy. But I love how they set that up, how they drew out Stormfront with the news, and then they had those speakers just putting out that noise for them to hear.
Yeah, they're like
And
frequency emitter or something.
Stormfront just tries. I thought she killed Kimiko, which I was like, no, Kimiko, just having my own little freak out at home. But and then as soon as she's about to get like Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and Huey, that's when you just hear, hey, Kraut. And I thought, oh, Maeve. And she just starts beating down. Kimiko snaps her neck back in place and is like, let's get this done. And Starlight gets up. It's like, okay, now I have some help. And they just totally just beat her down like gang member style, just constant punching her and just beating her. And Frenchie's like taken aback, like, man, women really do get it done. Like,
Women really do get it done. That was the best line.
it was. It was the again. This episode was the best of the whole season, besides episode 6, which I said was my favorite. But this one was just the cherry on top. Stormfront finally getting what was coming to her, where
Oh yeah.
she's also dominated people, either her Sith lightning powers or just brute force, and she just Given it took 3-on-1, but it's like you're a Nazi. You don't really get fair odds at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
oh man, it was the most satisfying beatdown you could watch. And I like that too. That it wasn't like you said, it wasn't like this highly choreographed fight that we usually get in superhero things where it's all drawn out and it's like super epic. No, it was just like an alleyway beatdown.
I was just cheering. I was like, yeah, like get it. And oh my god, the saddest part was just Butcher, Ryan, and Becca. Even though Butcher told her everything, like I was just gonna give him up, but I think now I just want you two to be safe. Like you go on, and she's like, no, I still love you. Please go with us. And I was kind of hoping like, yes, okay, the three of them are gonna get away or something somehow. But then when Stormfront's like choking her, and Ryan just cuts loose on his powers, like how she was saying, you gotta hate, let all that hate out at something. You gotta project that. He projected on her, but in the process, killing Becca was really just, oh, that's not something a kid should live through. That was heartbreaking, legitly heartbreaking.
Yeah, like once Stormfront had Becca in that chokehold and Ryan's freaking out, I'm like, oh no, he's gonna use his power and he's just gonna incinerate the both of them. Like that's what was going on through my mind. Like I had a feeling immediately once that situation started to play out, I was like, oh no, Ryan's gonna kill his mom accidentally. And it sucks that it did play out that way. Not them getting completely incinerated, although it looks like uh what's her name? Stormfront got Anakin from episode 3 where she was just
She did. You're right, but definitely dead. She did not survive that, I don't think. And but Becca's throat essentially got slitted by that. But
Mhm.
even then, when that happened, just the most humanizing thing with Butcher was just like she told him he didn't mean this. Like, please don't do anything. Don't let him. Just take care of him for me. Like they cherish him and treat him right. And Butcher promises, but again, he had that look like I'm gonna fuck you up, kid. Like you just killed my wife. Like how dare you? But it's like Ryan was just he's like I didn't mean to. I didn't want to hurt my mom. And then Homelander, that shot where he's flying down all bloodied up, which was from the teaser trailer last year or earlier this year, I remember. I was like, oh, that's now we finally see it. Like those
Yeah,
kind of
there were actually a few clips of like from that trailer that didn't happen until this last episode, which surprised me.
yeah, the teaser really just teased the finale for us.
Yeah,
And
we didn't know. That's pretty crazy marketing there.
and Homelander also just again revealed his true colors that yeah, he's heartbroken by what Stormfront did. And he was about to kill Ryan too. Like you could tell he was like, wow, okay, great. Like you're dying, kid. And but then Butcher when Ryan goes to Butcher, I thought, oh damn it, this is really sad. Please, Butcher, don't kill him. And he's like, I made a promise. Like he's not nothing's gonna happen to this kid. Like you stay away. And Homelander's line is like, you know, let that piece of shit live after he just killed your wife. It's like, so I thought he was your son though. I just again I saw the hypocrisy. Like you really don't care. You sociopath.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like yeah, once he felt that betrayal from Ryan, he no longer cared about him anymore.
And it's so messed up. I love that Maeve really again she came to the rescue this season and just said, you leave us alone, you leave them alone, like let them live, or I'm gonna show everybody what you've done, and you'll never be the line that you will never be loved again. It was like, oh, that got him. That got under his skin really quick.
Yeah, yeah, with his threat, what's stopping me from just killing is just like I don't care as long as you know that people will never love you again. And she knew that was the button to push with Homelander. That's his weakness, that his need for others to love him.
It's a false like love though. He just wants to be praised, and again, it was a poetic justice for him and Stormfront in this season.
Yeah, no, I mean completely poetic justice for the both of them. Although I really did hope Homelander got a little more what was coming to him, but that then we wouldn't have a villain, for the rest of the show. So it's fine that he got his more emotional comeuppance.
Exactly. And again, the way the episode ends is that, Huey and the boys, their records are cleared so they can live their lives however they want. And, Annie and Huey are still going to stay together, which is good because I didn't want them to break up. But it was also nice
Oh
that
yeah, I thought his whole monologue was him breaking up with her. I was like, no. But then finally
I
he was like,
I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, no, he's not breaking up with her. Like, she's the best thing that ever happened to him. He's like, oh no, not
yeah,
you. I just want to break off from the boys. Like, I got to do my own thing, not rely on
yeah.
them. That's hilarious because even she thought, oh, okay. It's like, and she's like, oh, of course not. Like, you're right. I shouldn't have thought that kind of thing. But it was good seeing Starlight back in the seven. Like, they cleared her name, like saying, yeah, you weren't a villain at all, but Stormfront was the true monster behind everything. And I love that little line, that little scene with Ryan and Butcher together where they're both reminiscing about Becca and how he gave him like the necklace he had that she gave him. Like I want her to protect you now. Like don't ever forget that like what she taught you. And he's like, remember, like don't forget what I taught you.
Uh,
It's like, yeah. I thought, okay, Father of the Year right there with that
yeah,
line. Like such a
that
monster.
that was the parenting that we get from Butcher. Don't be that.
Don't be a C word. Oh my god, just terrible. He's such a monster, but
That cracked me up so much.
I mean, it's still a little messed up that he's putting this kid essentially for foster care, but he's just, yeah, I think he also knows like he's not my kid, so I can't, and the life I live, it won't be safe for him. Like, it's just not the best environment. So he needs to be
Yeah.
with a loving family somewhere.
And I think I know here that he thinks that he's going into a good situation with, Mallory, being the one to take Hillary. That's her name, right? The
Yeah,
head of
like,
the
yeah, I thought they were more of like she's gonna pass him off to like a family or something like that, but
Oh, no, I interpreted that as she was going to be the one to take care of Ryan. I could be wrong, but that's what I was hoping for since, she lost her family to Lamplighter, who, we didn't talk about, but yeah, he was responsible for the death of her kids. So I thought like he was going to be her like surrogate son.
I mean, we'll find out. I'm sure it won't be the end of Ryan. I think after this season, there can't be an end to Ryan. We have to see more of him as the show goes on.
Yeah.
And but the last thing that really took me by surprise was that the head of the Church of the Collective called Newman, and it's like they had a political deal, which is like, okay, I should have seen that coming. That makes sense. But then as soon as they finished talking about, okay, I'll give you more evidence as long as you keep our tax situation, or
Yeah,
tax
he
exempt.
wants yeah, he wants their church to be recognized, I guess, by the government as a church, so now they can get these all tax exemptions and all that.
And then his head blows up. I did not see the fact that it was Newman the whole time.
Yep.
That
Newman is the one responsible for the explosions of the heads.
like as a good
What
of
a
a
twist.
it would literally the equivalent of that would be like seeing AOC doing a dirty deal for like lumber liquidators or some other like environmental destruction. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I fight for the New Deal, and then no, they're paying me, or I'm doing this for them, kind of thing. Like they traded one devil for another in this season. Like, yeah, Stormfront and Homelander are put in their places, but now Newman's another threat. And
Uh-huh.
again,
And
that's
now Huey's gonna go work for her without
yeah, he
knowing.
has to work for her, and it makes me think like, oh my god, what is gonna happen? Again, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, next season, need it now, now, get back to filming. I don't care.
Yeah, it's like it's real, just a real twist. Because I mean, we thought it was gonna. I mean, I was kind of surprised, like in the first place, to think that this season was gonna end on a happy note. With Ryan going with Mallory and them having their relationship. I guess as the surrogate father. I mean, surrogate mother to a surrogate son, and then Butcher and the boys had all their records cleared, and now MM can go home to his family and Kimiko and Frenchie can like go off and do their own adventures, and Huey can like do his own thing now. So I was like, oh wow, this is kind of like a happy ending. I was not expecting like this sort of end to this show, and then again completely flipped it with the reveal that Newman is a super, and like now we're like, okay, what are her intentions? What's gonna happen now?
I have no idea. I did have that vibe, like, okay, everything's a little too happy. This doesn't feel right. Something bad has to happen. But oh my god, just again, what a fantastic season. Now let's get with our reading. So everybody, if you turn back on to us or you sped up to us, we just finished our deep dive into the season, or at least our highlights of these episodes. So, Bern, out of 5 rantings, what would you give it?
I've thought about this long. No, I'm just kidding. 5 out of 5 stars. There's no question. I mean, with all the praise that I've been heaping at this show, it's never disappointed me once. So, I mean, I can't give it anything less than a 5. This season was absolutely incredible. It completely upended everything that you thought was going to happen. It completely improved on everything from the first season when it came to characters and just the story. The way it played out was completely unexpected in a good way, where it wasn't like, oh, why did that happen? That doesn't make any sense. It was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen now? And the week to week format plays into that too, where like almost the end of every episode, I was like, okay, I need more. What is going to happen next? It just played into that so well. And again, I can't sing the show's praises enough. It is one of the best things I've watched this whole year. And unless the Mandalorian comes out and just completely knocks out the park, which I hope it does, this is my show of the year.
As a great man once said, I wish I had more hands so I can give this show 4 thumbs up. No, yeah, 5 out of 5 for sure. This season completely blew away my expectations. The budget, the writing, the acting, just everything turned to 11, as they would say.
Yeah, this goes up to 11.
And it's just, oh, I can't wait for season 3. I can't be any more excited. And now we have another epic show to look forward to, The Mandalorian, which we will talk about as soon as it premieres. But that'll do it for me, my brother. Thank you. It's always a pleasure talking with you. I hope you come on again sometime soon.
Wow. Hey, everybody, I just been relegated to a guest on this show. This has become Ry's show now. It's the Bodacious Man with Ry.
Oh
It's gonna
man,
be a one-man talking head for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
God.
Sometimes it'll be even 4 hours of him just talking.
Oh man. But anyways, everyone, please like, subscribe, comment on your favorite moment in the show, like whether it be this last half of the season or even season 1. Please comment. But until next time, keep staying bodacious and keep on renting.
Exactly, everybody. Let us know. Let us know what you thought about this show, because did you guys love it as much as we did? Because if you didn't, I think you're crazy.
All
But
right.
yeah, I mean, be good to each other, be safe, and just be diabolical, as what one butcher would say.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Adios, my brother.